to the Field and Garden Podcast. I'm Jessi Graven from the Gardener's Workshop. Today, I'd like to share a chat between Jennie Love of Love and Fresh Flowers and Ellen Frost of Local Color Flowers, in which they discuss their top books for flower farming, floristry, and business. As you may know, both Jennie and Ellen are online course instructors for the Gardener's Workshop, but they're also good friends on top of that. In 2020, Jennie hosted this chat with Ellen on Instagram Live and then shared it with us. So let's have a listen.
Hey, I am here to talk about books today, all my faves, a giant stack of books, with my bestie Ellen at Local Color Flowers. We're going to talk today about favorite books that have really helped us both collectively. Ellen is the owner and brainstorm mastermind behind Local Color Flowers, which is based in Baltimore, Maryland, where she has been, I believe, in operation 12, 13 years maybe. We'll have to ask her when she gets here. But she and I have been really great friends for a very long time, and we're both book nerds, and so we thought it would be really fun to come on here and give you guys an idea of some of our favorite books. All right, I think she's on. There.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
This is exciting.
Yeah. Yes.
So, yay! Ellen is a new Instagram Live and YouTube star lately.
Oh yeah.
You've adopted those both beautifully. Two things I don't really know much about still, but
I don't know much about them either, but I jumped in with 2 feet and I'm making it work.
You are a brave soul. So, speaking of jumping in with 2 feet, we might as well rock and roll with the book discussion.
Sounds great.
I just want to let everybody know I have a printout of my favorite books, and Ellen has a printout of hers. I don't know if it's printed out, but if you want the full list, I have 12 books on my list.
Oh.
I had to outdo you. I'm sorry.
A couple extra. All right.
So, but you have, how many do you have on your list, Ellen?
I have 10 on my list.
You have 10. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and I think they're very different lists, so it's worth getting both of them. And my books are all mostly farming related. Well, they're about like 60% farming and gardening related. And then I'm looking at the list right now. And I've got 2 of my very favorite design books on there for floral design. And then I've also got a marketing book on there, which I'm going to talk about while we're
Yay.
But what's on your list, Ellen?
I have mostly, I would say like maybe half design books, and then another mix of color, business, gardening, just general nature writing.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Such a great list of books. And you have your book club, so.
Yeah, so a couple of them are from the book club, and just as a teaser, one of the books on the list is in our 8 years of book club, still everyone's favorite book.
Ooh.
Yep.
I want to know what that one is.
You'll have to get the list.
I'll have to get the list. Okay. All right. Well, first, let's start with the book that is on both of our lists, which is Flower Confidential. Yeah, you got it. Oh, good. I couldn't find my copy. I think I loaned it to somebody. So, Flower Confidential by Amy Stewart was really pivotal for both Ellen and myself, because it was written or published in 2008 when both of us were just starting. It actually is, I don't know, Ellen, you have to tell your story, but Flower Confidential is literally the catalyst for Love and Fresh Flowers. That's why I started Love and Fresh Flowers. It's because I read that book and then decided, well, something has to be done about this because clearly it's not good right now, so I need to do something. And so because of that book, it just exposed how the floral industry is I should say was, because I think it's really changed a lot, but back then it was very global and unsustainable in the way that it was functioning back in the early 2000s. So that was why I started Love and Fresh after reading that book. What about you, Ellen? Tell me what your thoughts are on Flower Confidential.
Yeah, I was thinking of how I heard about it or why I picked it up, or I don't have any recollection of like buying it, or I was into flowers. I was doing some farming and floral design, so I guess I was just interested. But I do remember very distinctly that Marina and I both read it and immediately thought up Loco Flow and thought that we had to hurry up and start the business so nobody else would steal our idea. Yeah.
Wow.
So I remember it having like an instant impact, like reading it and thinking, okay, there's another way to do things and we can do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the same reaction that I had. So,
And I think it's still relevant today. I think everybody in the flower world should still read it. And I think it still gives a great overview of sort of how the industry works, even with some tweaks with timing. But I think it's still totally relevant today.
Yeah. There's a story in there about lily breeding that I still to this day remember. It's just
Leslie Woodruff, right at the beginning. Totally.
I was even like a horticulture nerd, and I still didn't understand, all the intricacies of that and then how that would trickle down the line. So, yeah, there's a lot in there that definitely is very cool. I love that book. So I highly recommend it to anybody who has not.
I do too. So, and that's a great like starter book. It's like a good first book about the industry to like get a good overview.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody who's a farmer florist or a florist who has not read this book really, really, really should. I think it's like part of the essential reading list of somebody in the flower world. So
yeah, and we all want to be experts in our field. And this is, a starting place to sort of build up that knowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely critical. So.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna dive in with my next book, which I actually read this one.
Yes.
This is a marketing book. It's called This is Marketing by Seth Godin. I highly recommend this to anybody who's doing a small business and any kind. It doesn't matter what your business is about. This is an amazing book, and Seth Godin writes a lot of books about marketing and business and all sorts of things. But this one I found particularly powerful for me. I read it, I think, two winters ago. After you told me about it, Ellen. And there's something in this book that is specifically potent to me, which is this concept, and I don't know if I can articulate it well enough. I wish I should have scrolled through or flipped through and made sure I found it. But this idea of a business being built on the smallest viable market, which means instead of trying to get 5 billion Instagram followers and appeal to everybody in the world and do all the things and be the most popular business ever, instead what you really want to do with your business is focus on the smallest viable market, which means that find the people that really buy into what you're doing and then work with them and build with them and build relationships, and don't worry about being the popular kid, but instead worry about what really makes your business work. So this by Seth Godin is an amazing book for that.
I also highly recommend it. Yeah. And I feel like both of us, when we read it, I feel like a light bulb went off. We kind of knew it, but it was somehow like validating to say, okay, you know what? I don't have to be everything to everyone in my business.
Exactly.
What I need to do is find my people and then bombard my people with all the things that they love. And that's it. Yes. In all the ways that they love flowers, give them all of those things.
All those things.
And don't worry about the people that are not your people. Yeah,
exactly. And I remember when I read this book, I actually started crying when I read that section. It wasn't, not that he's like an emotional writer.
Sure.
But just that it was like I had been trying so hard to build like market share, like lots and lots of market share, because that's what a lot of marketing books and business books will tell you, that you have to take over as much market share as you possibly can. And instead, no, you really don't. You just have to find the people that really care. And I've never seen that more manifested than during this COVID-19 situation, where our core group of people that have made all the difference in the world. And we really know who our friends are now in terms of our friends, and we know that they're our friends, and it's been amazing. So.
And I think it also, around, the COVID issue, it has also helped us in pivoting to say, okay, who are our core people and what do they want and what do they need? Not
exactly.
you know, all of this superfluous stuff.
Yeah.
But who are our people and what do they want? And how can we get that to them?
Yeah. How can we give them that thing that they really need? Which I think, you know, we're so fortunate to be in the flower business.
I know.
It's an amazing gift to be able to give flowers out into the world and watch the emotional well-being that comes from them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Been blown away by that. So, all right, Ellen, what's one of yours? Tell me.
Okay. I'm like a big proponent of sort of understanding floral history and the floral world, and for people in the floral world to know that you are part of like this rich history of people who have been doing flowers for so long.
Yeah.
And that you're not, you know, just on your own. You're part of this very rich tradition. So my next book is The Surprising Life of Constance Spry.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good one.
I love it. It's by Sue Shepherd. And if you don't know Constance Spry, this is a great opportunity to get to know her. She, in my opinion, was like the first celebrity florist.
Yeah.
She had a shop in London around the turn of the century and then up until about the 50s. And she was a woman of her own mind. She was the first florist to sort of popularize using non-traditional flowers and other natural elements in her designs, including kale and weeds and vines and all sorts of things that she found in her neighborhood, in her community, and really elevated them. I mean, so much so that she became the Queen's coronation florist, and got to use all of these great elements and designs in a royal setting. She also, I think, I mean, at least in terms of like reading history, was the first to popularize chicken wire as a mechanic. She used lots of other things too, like curly willow and frogs and, you know, sand and moss and a million other things. But chicken wire was really, this was the first time that chicken wire was being widely used as a mechanic. So I just love reading about her and feeling like sort of part of her tradition. And this book, the Sue Shepherd book, is a biography of her. But Constance Spry herself has lots of books, both on cookery, because she was also a cooking teacher, and floristry. So if you want to get something of hers, this is an add-on. This is my favorite book of hers. This is the Encyclopedia of Flower Arranging. Oh, yeah. It's very stylish in those days. But it's a great, like, sort of historical snippet of design at that time. So yeah, Constance Spry. I love her.
Nice. I want to be her when I grow up. Like, she's like my idol.
Oh yeah.
I just hope I can be that quirky and visionary and
like sure of yourself. Like, yeah, right. I don't care if this is weird or untraditional or seemingly unpopular. Like, I think it's good and I'm going with it.
Right. And I think she, not just that book. I mean, that book is a great culmination of all the things that people want to know about Constance Spry. But Constance Spry, as a person, as an entity, proposed that she's maybe the most influential designer for today's modern designers.
Totally.
And so many of us saw Constance Spry's work by happenstance somehow because it got a little bit popular again, and then we started talking about her, and then we all went and looked up her work and looked up her books, and as a result really influenced modern floristry, which is phenomenal. Like, over 100 years ago, here we are doing the same thing. Yes. New under the sun. But it is, like you said, it's a rich tradition, so it's pretty exciting to feel like you're part of that wheel that is really always moving forward in the same time. So cool. I love it.
All right. What you got?
Next up, mine is my current read.
Oh.
This is No-Till Intensive Vegetable Culture by Brian O'Hara. I'm almost done with this. I actually haven't quite finished it yet, but I'm so enthralled with this book that this is actually the reason because I wanted to talk about this book because it's just phenomenal. So I get asked all the time about, I coach a lot of people about flower farming and do a lot of consulting, and I get a lot of people that ask me about fertilizing. and also no-till farming. So these are two things that come up over and over again. Is my farm has always been organic, not certified organic, but we've never used chemicals here, never used synthetic fertilizers. So I call us organic by the standard. You know, it's like
we are.
Yes. So I wanted to find a better way to articulate what we were doing, but was having a hard time doing that. And then 2 seasons ago, I adopted no-till farming here at the farm. We went cold turkey all in. Is that an oxymoron? Cold turkey. We went cold turkey on tilling and all in on no-tilling in 2018. And it wasn't, there weren't that many flower farmers doing it. So I had to turn to the vegetable world to get a lot of insight about that. So I've done a lot of reading on both of these topics on organic fertilization and culture, and then also on no-till practices, trying to distill my own thoughts on both of those topics and improve my farm. Like, I'm just super curious about both of these things. And so this book has single-handedly encapsulated all of it in the most concise and usable format possible. So there's several books on my list about farming and no-till, but this one in particular really got into the nuts and bolts. And this guy, Brian O'Hara, is just so good at writing in a very steady cadence, very approachable. There's science in it, but it's not sciencey.
Right.
And like, it's great. I can't say enough about it. It's been phenomenal. And my favorite part about it is that it's not really a no-till book. This title is incredibly misleading. I want to write them and say hey, Jessi Graven Books, who's the publisher, can you propose a new title for your book? Just because there's a little bit of no-till in this book, of course. But it's more about feeding the soil. And that is something really, really powerful as a farmer to learn, that we're not feeding crops, we're not feeding vegetables, we're not feeding flowers. We ultimately have to feed the soil, and then as a result, our crops will grow really well. I couldn't put all the pieces together until I read this book, because he has amazing information in here about creating your own natural fertilizers and Korean natural farming, biodynamics, all sorts of stuff. It's all in one book, and it's super easy to read. So I highly, highly recommend No-Till Intensive Vegetable Culture by Brian O'Hara as probably my top pick at the moment.
Wow.
On my list. So there we go.
Can I ask you a question about it?
Yeah, please do.
Were you scared to go all in on a thing that you didn't know how to do? Thinking maybe it'll screw something up, or I don't know what the result will be, or...
And it actually, to be completely honest, it has screwed a lot of things up, but it's okay. It's part of the process of learning. So when I did it, I didn't have a choice about going no-till, or I didn't feel like I did, because that was the year that I decided to do it, was the year that we had pouring rain nonstop, and tilling just wasn't, you just couldn't.
An option.
So it was like, oh wow, I can't keep, I can't till. I need to plant stuff. How do I do this? It was so obvious that the weather patterns were getting so extreme that I had to adopt something. So it was just sort of well, sink or swim, because there's no choice.
Right.
But yeah, I was definitely nervous about it. But in the end, it's turned out that no-till farming is way easier. Wow. than conventional farming. So much easier. I can't even, so much easier, so much better. And it's better for the environment, absolutely, and all of that. And that's still my driving force, my passion behind it. But I feel like I'm a lazy farmer now. It's so easy. I don't even understand.
Wow.
There's no weeding to do. We plant the bed. It gets super healthy, super fast, and everything. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. So I highly recommend.
All right, one more question. Would it be good for a home gardener? Yeah,
I think so. This particular book is a little bit dense. Not dense. It's not dense. Sorry, I take that back. It's not dense. It's comprehensive. So it's maybe a little bit more than a home gardener needs to know.
Sure.
It's definitely very readable for a home gardener. and very fascinating. Like,
and by home gardener, I mean me.
You, yeah. No, like one of the things I love.
Like I'm interested in it because it seems like it's becoming more mainstream.
Right. Exactly.
And I mean, I get the idea of it, but I'm interested in learning like more like how it works.
Yeah, one of the things that he talks about in here is like how to make your own fertilizers from just things you have around. You could just buy at the grocery store, basically. So like, and none of this is his invention. This is all stuff that he's kind of compiled in a way that me, as somebody who was raised on a farm that was very conventional, and then a flower farmer for the past 12 years, I could get it all kind of all at once. But so one of the things that I've started using at my farm now is molasses and milk on it. So molasses and milk on my plants, which are two very, yeah, you can just get them at the grocery store. And I've noticed a marked difference in my transplants that we've been putting out in the field. Yeah. It's phenomenal. So you water in. The book tells you how to do this. Don't just go buy a jug of milk and throw it on the ground.
Right.
The book tells you how to like do things like this, where you're going to use molasses or raw milk or other things that you can buy. Vinegar. It tells you how to use vinegar like in a good way, not a bad way. Epsom salts. So all these things are like super available. Just at the CVS or the grocery store or whatever, and you can make your own homemade fertilizers that are, as far as I'm concerned, better than Miracle-Gro based on what I've seen. I've been using them for about a month now, and it's phenomenal. So yeah, you should definitely. That's
great. All right, I'm going to check it out. See,
yeah, you should. Yeah,
I'm learning something new.
Exactly. I do have. It's on my list. But, this is a bonus for this chat.
Oh yeah.
This is on my list. This is my recommendation for gardeners who are new. I knew there would be some new people that haven't done gardening before, because it's so popular now. So this is called The Gardener's A to Z Guide to Growing Organic. So this is meant for home gardeners who are just like learning how to get out there. So this is a great book if you're new to gardening.
Cool.
That's my other one. All right.
Awesome.
What's up on your list?
All right, next on my list, well, I couldn't have a list that didn't have Martha on it.
Well, of course not.
Because how could any list be complete without Martha?
Without her, yes.
And she has so many books to choose from. Like, they're all great.
Yeah.
But the book that I picked is her newest book, Martha's Flowers.
I haven't actually seen that one yet. Tell me about it.
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. All right. First, I want to tell you that I got this book when we went to see her speak at Longwood. And we got books when we went. And this is what I remember from seeing her, is that she was on the stage with Kevin Sharkey, her man florist. And she was like bemoaning how lilacs that she cut from her garden wouldn't stay hydrated. And she was talking about all these like tricks that she had tried to get them to stay hydrated. And I turned to our team and I was like, Martha's just like us. She has the same problems we do. And I thought that's the magic of Martha, right? That she is an actual hands-on.
Yep.
I mean, of course, she has an army of people that also help her, but she is like an enthusiast like nobody else. She like is a hands-on gardener. She's a hands-on designer. She just is like us.
She is.
Of course, the team was like, she's nothing like us. So move on from that.
Aw, they have such little faith in you.
Exactly. So one of the reasons that I love this book, besides it is stunningly beautiful, it is really like just very, very beautiful. She picks out about 15 flowers, which we all use and grow. And, she starts with daffodils, she ends with dahlias. It's stuff that we're familiar with.
Right.
And then she talks about growing. So, really in-depth but accessible growing techniques.
I didn't realize she did that.
Yeah, it's really, if you're like a beginner, this is like a great like beginner, grow it and design with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. And so she does the sort of a collector of things that she also gives you stories of like varieties you've never heard of, or how she got that weird variety in Paris from her other gardening friend who made the
provenance of the
there's like a lot of like history and stories to the varieties, and I think it's beautiful and really accessible, and I get excited when I see things that we use, materials that we use in like design books and in beautiful photos by famous people, because I'm like, oh, we use scented geranium, I know how to use that. It just makes me like feel part of the team, part of the Martha team. So I highly recommend it. I think it's beautiful, and it should be on everybody's shelf of floral design and growing books.
Oh, cool. I'm going to get it now.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I've been a little light on my design books lately in terms of keeping up. I don't have time, but that one sounds like it's...
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's called Martha's Flowers, and it's with Kevin Sharkey. And it's the newest book. I think it's 2 years old.
So the list is available. I'm going to include a link. All right. And also, I would just highly recommend right now that you find a bestie in the flower world. And
yes. Yes.
It would be lost without Ellen, and it's phenomenal to have her.
And vice versa.
Yeah. By the way, everybody, if you don't follow Ellen, you really should. She's at Local Color Flowers on Instagram.
Yep.
And a lot of other places.
All the other places.
All the other places. But what's really unique about Ellen's business is that she is a florist. She's not a farmer. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. She's just a florist.
Mm-hmm.
She's an amazing.
But
she only sources locally grown flowers, so only within 100 miles, right?
100 miles.
Baltimore.
Yep.
Yeah, which is amazing. So in Baltimore, she is sourcing all her flowers from within 100-mile radius year round.
Yep.
She's been doing it for how many years have you been doing it?
This is our 13th year.
13th year. So she clearly has it figured out in that capacity. And the other thing I love about your business, Ellen, is that you really built it to be a team effort, and it's not a business about you, which I wish I had learned that lesson early on.
I feel like this is a conversation that we have had many times over the last 13 years.
Right. So Ellen's basically my hero because she learned very, very early that you should delegate, and you shouldn't be the head designer, and you shouldn't be all the things. You should just be the brains and let a lot of other people do a lot of the work. And then so not that you do a lot of the work too, but
thank you,
check
friend.
out Ellen, if you don't already.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
see you soon. Bye.
All right, bye, everyone.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. So if you want to get your hands on the full book lists that Jennie and Ellen put together, I'll have a link to those in the show notes for this episode. I'll also put a link to their pages on our website, where you can read more about them and their businesses, as well as the annual courses that they offer. So that's it for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here on the Field and Garden podcast. I'm Jessi Graven with the Gardener's Workshop, and I hope you have a great day.